Welcome. My name is Chloe Ballatori. I am a relationship and communication expert. I'm a graduate of Princeton University and Pat Allen's One Institute. I practice tools of transactional analysis that was created by Eric Byrne. I practice the tools of androgynous semantic realignment, which was created by my mentor, Pat Allen. And I use tools that I created myself since I've been doing this work for about 12, 13 years almost. Wow. I'm also 20 years married. No, I am 23 years married. Um, so everything that I am talking about, I have gone through myself. Um, the tools that I teach, the scholarship that it's based on, these are things that aren't just an academic exercise for me, but are things that I used and that I found success from with when really nothing else in my life was working. So when I saw how powerful this work is, and then I saw that I was good at it, I was eager to share it with other people and help people change their lives the way that I was able to change mine. I guide people, but you do the work. Okay. I never want to take the full credit for somebody else's personal work. And this stuff is work. It's not always easy. It does take a certain orientation. It does take a degree of courage. And so while I believe that this work is universally applicable, I have found that not everyone is quite up for it. Or some people you might like do a little bit of work and then you need to take a break and then you can come back and do a little more. Um, Ultimately, if you stick with it, you will learn how to fish for yourself. And that's usually that, I mean, that can mean a number of different things for different people, but it usually takes about 3 years to learn any modality really well. I work with men, I work with women, I work with couples, I work with teenagers. I've also written 4 books on this work, and those are all available on Amazon. The first one is really about the basics of this work, and the tools that I'm going to talk about in just a moment. The scholarship on which this work is based is very well established, but the tools to execute on that scholarship are unique. And that's what I'm going to focus on in working with you guys and taking your questions, whatever they are. Um, the most successful relationships are those that are balanced between feminine and masculine energy, also known as yin and yang. And balance in general is really a bellwether of health, um, physical health, mental health. Some people, myself included, don't see a huge division between those two. But balance is a key to life on Earth because we live in a universe that's really based on duality. We have pain and pleasure, we have night and day, we have black and white, and all the gradations in between. And that's what's connoted by the swoop, right, in the yin yang symbol. So, learning how to navigate that duality and specifically how to achieve balance in yourself and in your relationships, because ultimately all relationships are about the relationship that you have with yourself. Um, that's really the key to living um, a successful, happy, actualized life. Now, it doesn't mean you are going to get rid of all your negative feelings. I often have people come to me and say, "Hey, I'm just feeling so angry. I'm feeling so upset." And with the idea being, I don't know how to get rid of it. And a lot of feelings just need to be processed and worked through. When we start to heap on judgment onto our feelings, it becomes a lot harder. to process the original feeling. So we get angry, then we get angry about being angry, and then we get frustrated that we're angry about being angry. And so you can see how that just begins to spiral and build on itself. Negative emotions are a part of life. The best thing to do with negative emotions is to let them flow through you. And ultimately, that will give you the confidence that you need to be able to deal with negative emotions. A lot of times we don't even realize how much we're holding ourselves back because we don't want to face certain negative emotions. And so once you start getting better at processing some of these things, you will find that you can take on more opportunities. Things that scared you before, things that maybe you wanted, but you felt that you couldn't do because you would be too worried about it or too concerned or too nervous. Um, these are the real rewards of doing difficult spiritual personal evolution. And it's so, 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 so worth it. It's gradual, it takes persistence, but you will see results over time with this work. And for me, that's what I really love about it because yes, the process is very important. The result is also important because that gives you the encouragement to keep going. Um, and that's really what drew me into this work originally, was wanting to get the results that I saw in other people who were doing this work, even though I didn't really understand it at first. Um, okay, so that's my little spiel. Let's start. Elizabeth, do you have a question?
I do.
Okay.
It's so weird. I'm not used to being the only one. I actually like it when others are here because then I get to hear their stories, and I learn a lot from that.
I know it
Um,
is really enjoyable. But it's also nice to have, I mean, it's not quite a one-on-one, but
yeah.
um, yeah, what can I say? We
Well,
made it a
okay.
paid group, so some people dropped out.
Well, like the newer people though, like the newer members who join, do they get a trial membership so like they can come for a few
Yes,
months? Okay.
yes, they can come, well, for 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah, everybody gets like a 2 week.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. Well, I have
it's not really set by me, it's really set by Meetup. Some people
oh,
have reached out to me, but it's not something that's really under my control. It's everything's kind of done through Meetup. And it's
okay.
actually not free for me to put on a Meetup. I have to pay $400 a year just to Meetup to put on
Yeah.
these events.
Yeah.
So it's like, I thought $5 a month was basically free,
Hmm. Yeah.
but it is what it is. I also wanted to do it because, and I just want to make this clear before you ask your question, because I think there maybe has been some confusion. I also wanted to do it because I don't want to be a crutch for people. I want to help people, um, but I want people to take it seriously.
Hmm.
And sometimes, well, it was challenging because I had to often navigate a lot of trolls coming in. And that's hard, and that doesn't make people want to share. And then on top of that, I think when you have to pay for something, even a small amount, it just makes you take it more seriously.
Hmm.
And so I wanted that too, because for me, I did the group for totally free for 3 years. And for me, to be gratified doing this work, I want to see people progressing. So it's not just about the money, but it's really about
Hmm.
also seeing people grow and take it seriously. So,
Yeah. Yep. Well, my question is actually a continuation of the career question I
okay,
had
let's
the
go.
last time. Well, you really helped me out like last time because I did what you said and it got me out of a jam. It's just that crazy things have been happening. I don't even know. Like last night, I was in tears because of what has been going on at work with this woman who is let's just say she's a bully. She's very confrontational and
It's the
aggressive.
same one that you talked about before, correct?
Yeah, yeah. So
Okay.
she's my boss. So she's very confrontational and aggressive towards me and towards somebody. See, I'm very competent in my skill set. And she's kind of like slacker. She doesn't have a good work ethic. I think if she put her mind to it and if she actually worked hard, she could do better. But she wants to take the easy way out. So she's threatened by me and she's been sabotaging me. I've worked for her for 7 years, almost 7 years. So she's sabotaging me ever since like day one, basically. Um, but I didn't actually see it. I didn't recognize because I like to see the good in people.
Right. No,
Um,
it and right, of course.
yeah, and I overlooked a lot because I was like, well, this can't be. This is my imagination. There's no way this woman is doing this.
But I think it's interesting, and I want to just point this out. When you do, I was talking about this with another client today. When you do this work, not only do you learn what to look at in yourself, but then you can see the signs in other people.
Right,
And
right.
so probably from doing some of this work, your eyes have been opened a little more.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
like the blindfolds have been off completely.
Exactly. The scales fall from the
Yeah,
eye.
and I mean, it's kind of ironic because it's not even in my love life. This is happening in my career, you know?
Yeah. But
So
that's what happens. These tools are going to shake things up.
yeah. Yeah, so my question is what happened was what I've been doing for the past, I don't know, maybe a month or I don't know how long, maybe a month and a half. I'm not sure. But what I've been doing is I've been copying like upper management on a lot of communication that on some communication that I sent out to her because what she's been doing like she started sabotaging me a while ago, and what she was doing was, and I didn't know this and it kind of makes me sick to my stomach, but what she was doing was taking credit for my work, right?
Hmm.
And then she'd pretend to be me, like doing like as if she was doing the work, and then she wouldn't give me the credit for it. So when somebody asked her what is Elizabeth doing, her answer was nothing because she's doing all this work. You know what I mean? So it was
Hmm.
her word against mine, and since she has seniority, they just believed her. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So I figured all this happened, like we're talking pandemic, like this was years ago. Like this has been going on. I I can get into how I realized this, but anyway, a month or two ago, what I did was like, let me just copy some people on, what's going on, like what I'm working on right now. Let's just shoot for transparency, okay? Because what I don't want is for her to continue this behavior,
Right.
because what she's doing every day, she has like a meeting or two, and then she's out running errands. She takes a 2 hour lunch, she's getting gas, she's like talking to her friends. It's like a party for
Right.
her. So anyway, so I did that, and then they didn't say anything, like the upper management. They just, I'm sure they saw my note, but she was probably under a lot of pressure because they thought she was doing all this, and now they're like, wait a minute, that's not what we were told. um
Wait, so what was your note saying?
no, my note was, remember we had that meeting, we have a monthly meeting
Right,
every,
right, right. And
so
I
I
know you,
just, yeah, yeah. So what I did, she told me, why don't, she's like, go ahead. She didn't say please. She's like, send me all your
right, all your
tasks
tasks. Okay, so
before
you're
the
talking about
meeting.
that one. Okay.
Yeah, before the meeting. So about an hour or so before the meeting. I wanted to wait. I wanted to give her an hour notice, not much more, because I don't want her to re-strategize.
Right.
So what I did was I sent my list out, which was a lot, okay, a lot that I accomplished. And then I was like, yeah, as requested, here's the list that I've been working on.
Right.
And
And
by the
so
way,
then other people were like, but I thought such and such did it.
yeah, yeah, they didn't say anything to me. This is just my hypothetical what's
Oh,
going
okay.
on.
So you don't know.
So
Okay.
yeah, yeah. So what happened was after that, I got called into a meeting with I guess because of the summer, a lot of people were on vacation, they took like 2 week vacations. Like people are in and out. Well, after they got back from their vacation, the next thing on the agenda was me. And they wanted to schedule a meeting with me. They being upper management. Okay, they wanted to schedule a meeting with me, with her, and with HR present. And
Ugh.
yeah, I don't know what the meeting was about. They didn't tell me. All they said was it was about like I don't know, they just had a, like a random subject heading, so I didn't even know what it was about. So I was like, okay, and it was an hour meeting, but they rescheduled it to 30 minutes later on. So I showed up with a notepad and a pen and my laptop, and then I that's all. And so before we were waiting for the meeting to start. Like outside the conference room because somebody else was in there, and I met the HR lady who's new, and she's like, "Hi, I'm Natasha. Are you Elizabeth?" I said, "Yeah." And I said, "Nice to meet you." And I shook her hand. Her hand was sweaty and clammy, as if she was anxious, stressed out, like.
Right.
And she apologized for that. She's like, "I'm sorry about my hands." I was like, "Okay." And then I we went in. And I was seated right across the VP. So the VP is actually my boss's boss. So he's two levels up. And then my boss came in late. She like forgot about the meeting, or she didn't know where the room was. So the HR had to go get her actually. Like she didn't even want to come in.
Right.
And then she sat right next to me, ironically. Like she wanted to hide. Like she didn't actually want to be there. And then her boss was right next to her, and then the VP was right across from me, and then HR was over there. So the VP shut the door. He wanted the door shut. I could tell that. And then he basically went on about something tangential. He said, "Well, I need you, the past few emails that have been going around, I feel like your tone." He didn't say tone. He said, "I feel like you've been disrespectful to your manager. Your manager is your manager, and you need to be respectful of her. And you came off as aggressive and
Who
confrontational."
said this?
The VP, the
Your
VP,
VP?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, the VP. Like we all report under him.
Okay.
I'm not his direct report, but we're under his umbrella.
Okay. So he's just like, please follow orders. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. And so then I was like, I was taking notes on every word he was saying, okay? Because
Hmm.
I was gonna analyze this later.
Hmm.
And so then he said, there's no need for you to copy anybody else. When you have a concern, you take it to your manager. There's no need to copy anyone else. One example is a vacation request. I wanted to be off the week of Memorial Day, and I sent the vacation request to her, and I copied the others as optional attendees, like just as an optional, just for awareness.
Right.
Just because if you're a strong player on the team and you're not going to be there, wouldn't you want somebody to
Right. Right.
know?
Right. Right.
Like,
Okay.
what if there's an
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
emergency?
Yeah. I see you. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So then he's like, there's no need to copy Mark and I on that, on a
Right. But
vacation
you know that
request.
you had copied him on other emails too. So he was
Yeah, yeah. And he didn't say
right.
anything about the others. And then he said, and by the way, there's no need to escalate anything to us. You just take your concerns to your manager.
Right. They
And
don't
she
want to deal
turns
with it.
yeah, and she came over, she was sitting right next to me, so we couldn't make eye contact, but she turns over, she's very southern. She's like, "Oh, Elizabeth, I want you to feel like you can come to me and talk to me about your concerns and anything you want to talk about." What she means is she wants to like twist things around. I confide in
I
her.
understand what the story is. I have
Yeah.
worked in this environment before.
Yes. So she
Okay.
wants to
So
control the narrative and she's
right.
pissed that she can't.
Right. So
Um
what's your question?
so my question is now and no, my question is about energy. About energy because I was so shaken after the meeting, not because it was blindsided by it. Like I was taking notes, okay? But and then of course HR is a puppet. She was backing the VP. You know what I mean?
Right.
So at the end, the HR asked, "Do you have any questions?" And I said, "Yeah, it's about my performance review from last year, which was totally messed up by her. And the reason it was messed up by her was because we have a 11-month calendar year. December doesn't count because it's
Okay.
the end of the year.
Right.
So out
Got
of
it.
11 months, you're supposed to have 11 months worth of ratings. So you should have like a 4.0 on or like 4.0 for January, 3.0 for March. Like it should be
Got
like
it.
every month. And guess how many I had for last year? She only did the rating for 1 month out of the entire year.
Oh God.
And then I took a medical leave, which I can get into later, but I was on medical leave for part of the year. And
Okay.
she rated me at a 1.0 for the time I was on medical leave. Okay. And how
Wow.
can you rate someone
Right.
how do you rate
Right.
someone
Right.
when they're
I
not here?
totally hear you. But
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
your
So
question?
I my so I had to escalate this issue because when I talked to her about it, she said there's nothing she can do about that, and she said, well, I hope that we can have I look forward to a great 2025, but there's nothing I can do about your rating.
Hmm.
So I had to escalate it to her boss and the VP to get this whole thing rectified, which they did fix
Oh,
it,
good.
but they claimed it's a technical error. It wasn't a technical error. They were like, yeah, it's a technical
Right.
error. We don't
Okay.
know why. We don't know why
Right.
the system would calculate
They're
a
backing
score.
her though. They're
Yeah, they're
gonna
backing
back
her.
the system.
Yeah, they're backing her.
Okay.
Anyway, that's fine. Good news is I thought it was fixed, but when I was handed the paper in the meeting, I just quickly scanned it over because obviously the meeting wasn't well, I thought the meeting was to talk about this because that's what it said in the subject heading. But we didn't talk about it. So I just scanned the document and I said, "Hey, look, it's still saying I have a 2.0 rating over here. Can you guys clarify what the new rating is because it's not
Mhm.
adding up?" And so I handed that piece of paper to HR because it's their job to figure this out. She looked perplexed. She's like, well, what is this? And then my manager's like, oh, you know what? I couldn't actually remove the overall rating. I could change the description. I couldn't change the visual. So it's still a 2.0. And so then the HR lady was like, well, your rating's actually 3.5 here. She circled it,
Oh, that's
you
good.
know? Yeah. And I was like, well, actually, it's an adjusted score of a 4.0. That's what it says right here. And she's like, yeah, but that doesn't count. It's a 3.5.
Okay.
So I just took that paper and I put it aside because obviously they wanted to talk about whatever else. And then the VP went on it. But my question is, Chloe,
Hmm.
I'm talking about energy. Like this guy, like up until like before now, he's always kind of diplomatic. He's kind of soft spoken. He doesn't like to cause conflict. He doesn't like to cause waves. He's always respectful of me,
Good.
because he knows I'm a strong team player.
Hmm.
But in this meeting, he was aggressive. Okay. We are like, let me tell you, like, this is how he sat. This was his nonverbal thing. It's called something. This pose that he sat in, I looked this up online. It's called a four-legged. Have you heard of a figure four lock?
Yeah, I know what you mean. He's like
Yeah.
leaning forward with his hands steepled.
No, it says one leg is on not cross. He's not sitting cross-legged. One leg is on his thigh.
Yes.
It's a show of dominance and
Okay.
assertiveness. Yeah, and aggressiveness actually. And he was very aggressive. Like it was basically yelling. Okay,
Okay.
he's like,
So he's
you
not
need to be.
happy with to be at this meeting.
Yeah, but he was taking it on me, so I'm the
Right.
scapegoat for all these problems that have
Well,
nothing to do
what
with me.
they're doing is, I wouldn't even take it personally. I've been in this situation before.
But his energy permeated through me. Like I am very empathic. I pick up on energy, and it's been over 24 hours since the meeting. That energy is still with me. I'm trying to get rid of it.
Yeah,
Like
that's
I'm
what I said at
serious.
the beginning. Okay. So he affected you.
Yeah.
That's normal. He's your superior. He's your boss. Um, he has power over you in a way, right? So
Hmm.
you can't expect that to have no effect on you.
Hmm.
That's going to have an effect on you. I think it's better to take, instead of trying to get rid of that feeling, let that feeling pass through and do what you said you wanted to do, which was analyze the situation, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
They're not happy because you've started making waves and throwing up flares that this situation that you're in with this woman is not okay. They want to preserve the status quo and they want you to respect the hierarchy. And she's a nice Southern woman with a nice Southern accent. And they see this as a cat fight. I know it's totally not fair. I hear what you're saying,
Hmm.
but this is the viewpoint. And this is what it's kind of like what we've been talking about from the beginning. And I've been not worried, but I'm just seeing that look, this might not be the right job for you. I really don't know. Only you can decide that. But you are going down a road where you're antagonizing your superiors. And maybe it is worth it because you can't take it anymore and you don't deserve it and you need to stand up for yourself. But you're in a corporate culture. So they're not going to be receptive to what they see as pot stirring. Do you understand? You don't have a voice. You've been told you have a voice, but you
Hmm.
actually don't have a voice. And that's how they mess with you, right? As
Hmm.
HR gets in there, you already know she's not on your side. Whoever the
Yeah.
HR person is, is not on your side. But it's usually a woman, and they're trained in the soft skills. And then you have this other woman who's Southern, and she knows all the feminine things. She knows how to, I guarantee you, if she's from the South, she knows how to manipulate men. Okay.
Oh yeah, she was totally in her feminine energy in the meeting.
Yeah.
And that's not how she is. And she was painting out me to be the bad guy where I'm aggressive. Everything that
And
she
you're
was,
and then that's
everything
just
that she
going to
was,
bait
I
you.
am. Huh?
Right. And that's just going to bait you and make you angrier
Yeah.
and make you into more of what they see as the problem. So
Right.
you're at a
Right.
crossroads for Elizabeth. Like, are you going to can you continue at this job? Because you to continue at this job, you're going to have to put on an act. You're not,
Hmm.
I don't know what you've been doing up until this point, but you can't really be yourself at this job. You're
Right.
not getting respect and you're not getting cherishing. You're getting a paycheck. That's all you're getting. If that's enough, then do what you have to stay in that job if you can. Some people can't do that. Especially if you've had childhood trauma, it can be very difficult to accept authority when you think something is unfair.
Well, and let me give you this. So the two things that questions I had for you was number one, he was very, very aggressive, and there's no need. That's what I'm saying. Okay, he could have got the point across without intimidation
But
tactics.
he's
And
using bullying and she's using manipulation.
yeah, but that's what I'm saying. I know, and he could not even make eye contact the whole meeting. He's
Bad.
staring
That's
at the
bad.
table. He's looking at the table right before us. We're in a boardroom. He's looking at the table. I'm sitting right across from him.
Yeah,
He cannot look
he's
me in
in
the
an
eye.
emotional state. You guys are having everybody's triggered.
But that means he's lying. Do you see that? If he can't look you in the eye, there's something he's hiding. You see that, right?
Yes, but I don't know. I mean, he's telling all he you said was he's basically reinforcing the status quo. He's avoidant. I don't know if he's lying about anything. He just wants to reinforce the status quo and make you shut up. But yeah, he
Well,
doesn't want to connect with you. He's not looking at you. He doesn't want to get sucked in by your eye contact. He doesn't want to have to consider your point of view. He doesn't want to have to consider you're a person who has a voice to be heard. They truly don't want to see you or hear you. They just want you to do your work and shut up.
well, that's what I was doing, but well, this is another thing. That's what I was doing, but it got me in a hot mess. I went on medical leave last year because like over the years, and it took me a while to figure this out. What she was doing is offloading all of her work onto me, in addition to my own job, in addition
Yeah, I mean, it
to
sounds like a shitty situation.
no. I got burnt out because she was overwhelming me with work on purpose. You see that? She was
Yes.
either like Elizabeth's not going to be able to do this work. So either she's going to quit or I'm going to kill her into quitting.
Right. I get it.
But yeah, so I complained to HR and the VP and they were on my side back then about a year ago. They were like, why don't you go on medical leave, okay? And we'll investigate this issue here. So I was able to get a doctor's note and go on medical leave because of this, but my health was in jeopardy, and now I'm worried that if they don't want me copying them, and so that she's in control, I'll be right back in this mess. I can't. I need the money, Chloe. Like
Okay.
you know how you said that you know how you said that. Well, I don't know if you last year. I have to last because with my family situation and things going on, with the economy, I can't just wave a wand and get another job. It's gonna take time.
Right.
Um,
Are you
so
looking?
um, not yet because I'm in a very specialized area. So like, I mean, even if I found something, it'd have to beat the salary that I'm at, and I'd have to be like, close to family. Like, it's just a lot of
Right.
stuff
Okay.
going on.
Okay.
So
So you want to try to hang in there.
yeah, for right now, I'm stuck here, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna be walked over. So I'm analyzing this stuff, but my question for you is, I don't understand why because before now he was very softer, like he was softer towards me.
Hmm.
Because like in the South, you're not okay. Like forget this. Like why would you need this level of aggression towards a female in the workplace or anywhere? he could have said whatever he needed to say. He could have said it in another tone, and I would still get the message. You know what I
Right.
mean? But
Right.
he chose this. You see that? He chose
Yes.
this to make
Yes.
it like it's a. I think he was ex-military, so it's like a
Right. He's
military
got
tactic.
like one or two channels. He's
Yeah,
got like his chill channel and his intense channel. So now you've met
yeah,
the intense channel.
yeah. But that intense channel, like, and the whole time I've known him, that intense thing, like the way he was with me, he would never dream of treating my manager like that. And she's doing crazier things that we've even like I've even shared with you. But like the only time
I
I've ever
agree with you. It's not fair. It's a shitty situation.
no, the only like a boxer entering a boxing match and getting geared up for round one, that's the energy level he was shooting towards me.
I mean, it's just awful.
Yeah. So I didn't know what to do, and on
I mean, you
instinct,
can do some visualizations to protect yourself a little bit if you want.
yeah, that's what I'll do moving forward. And I will like I try to avoid people like that in the office like on a regular day. Why would I need to be in that energy? But
Right.
the thing is like I didn't know. So I was taking notes, and at
Right.
the end of the meeting, I said that. And by the way, I was more in my feminine energy for the meeting because I had to be receptive to be able to take these notes. And I felt that it would go over better with him if I was that way. And
Right.
it did. It did because it got me off the hook. What I did was I took 3 pages of notes and they couldn't see it because I was behind, because of where I was sitting. I was behind the WebEx screen.
Right.
So they didn't even know. HR had no clue I was even taking notes. And so then, but he could see it. So then I was like, yeah, well, I did take some notes during the meeting and I'd like to review these notes. And, let's say, within a week, I'll come back to you if I have any questions or whatever. And then he's like, yep. And he was fine with that. But HR had a problem with that. She's like, what do you mean questions? And then I was like, well, I've been presented with a lot of information. I have a lot of notes here. I'd like the chance to reflect on this and then I can come back to you. And she's like, well, it doesn't matter if you have questions or you don't have questions. What we said here isn't going to change.
Okay.
That's what she said. And so I was like, okay, but I still need to look at this. And then for a third time, the VP then changed his tune. He's like, well, we want to clear, like, let's talk about what you don't agree with or what questions you got when you have, because we want a clear path forward. Because he was going on vacation this weekend and he didn't want this to be an open thing. Like, it's for his own peace of mind, basically.
Okay.
And so I was like, well, like I said, I need time to reflect on this. Give me some time and I'll get back to you. Like for the third time. I mean, I didn't say that.
Right.
And he was like, yeah, yeah, okay, sure. He said, yeah, okay. And then I said, thank you. And then we said, thank you. And we all left.
Okay.
But the director is extremely okay, so the director is my boss's boss. He's a very feminine man. So me, like, and then the message of the point of the meeting was for them to tell me, I'm disrespectful to my manager, not to them, to my
Mhm.
manager. And then at that, they don't want me copying anybody else on anything I sent out. I just goes directly to her so that she can
Mhm.
continue bullying me. Okay.
Mhm.
um and so it's like, if you have a problem, you can escalate it to her boss and then see if he can fix it. And then as a last resort, come to me, come to the VP.
Mhm.
And it's like what he said just is contradictory, because first he said, don't come to us. Then he said, wait, come to us if there's a problem. It's like, which one is it?
Yeah.
Um, and so anyway, but this guy, the boss's boss, when they asked him do you have any comments for Elizabeth or questions or whatever, and he's like, nope, nope, nope. He didn't want to talk. He said nothing to me. He made no eye contact. He's a very feminine man. Like every time I've gone to him with whatever, he's like he can't deal with conflict. Okay,
So
he's
then you're
like,
going to want to approach him by cherishing his feelings.
mm, yeah.
You've got to look, I'm teaching you tools that you can use in relationships, but you can use them at work too. The difference is if somebody is not respecting you, then
Mhm.
don't respect them. Do you understand? If you're in an interpersonal relationship, if you're with your boyfriend, your lover, your child, your mother, your friend, someone that you love, it you're gonna have to pick a cherishing or a respecting. You're
Mm-hmm.
in a work situation where you're people are playing games. You're in a
Mm-hmm.
gamey situation.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to survive in that situation, you either really have to shut up and just put your head down and work. Your other option is to play the game right back on them.
That's what I want to do. I'm
Okay, well then that's what
strategizing
you're going
right
to have to
now.
do. You're going to have to use the intimidation, the bullying without the cherishing. You're going to have to do the manipulating without the respect. You're going to have to beat them at this game
Yeah,
without them knowing. And they don't seem that intelligent. I
they
do think
don't.
it's possible. But the tide's right now turning a little against you. It's been turning against you since the beginning of the year. So I'm not sure how much agency you have in this situation. Like, sometimes when the knives are out and they want to fire you, they'll just do it eventually. But what I would do is I would just flip it. I mean, to
Well, they
be
can't
honest with
fire
you, I
me,
don't know if
Chloe.
I could
Well,
survive in this
Chloe, they
environment.
can't fire me because right now I'm doing 3.5 people's jobs.
Right.
So if
Good.
they can find somebody at my skill level and pay them like next to nothing, then
Right.
maybe. And besides, they're very lazy. They don't want to hire like a junior person and then train them because they don't have the skill set to train this person in the first place. The only reason I have it is because I have the experience before I landed here.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
And not only that, I work late. We work till 8 or 9 to fix shit that other people can't. And not everyone has that work ethic.
100%. So they would be stupid to lose you.
Yeah, they can't lose
I
me
mean,
because
it's
who's
just
gonna do the
like
work?
I said, there's only so much you can do because it's the situation isn't 100% under your control. All that's under control is your behavior. So like I said, you can either just try to like put your head down and ignore it, or you can try to do it back to them. So you can try to start manipulating the feminine guy. You can if you want to have a power, you can start intimidating if you think that is going to help you in a certain scenario.
But how would I act with the aggressive guy?
I mean,
You know?
with him, I would go straight into your feelings. I would
Okay.
say,
Okay.
"Oh, I feel really bad. I didn't mean to be disrespectful. I thought that was the right thing to do. Please excuse me. What do you think is the right thing?" I would go into that, like giving him respect,
Okay.
asking him, what do I do? And you've done that, but you can't help yourself because you've shown them that you think that you're pointing out right now where you're at and why it's so uncomfortable is because you're pointing out to him everything he's doing wrong. You're pointing out the inconsistencies. You know, I get it. That's what I would do too. You're being yourself. But
Well, if I
now that
hadn't done that, they wouldn't have fixed my performance review.
exactly,
I
exactly.
had
But
to
it's
be in my
been really
masculine energy.
uncomfortable. So I'm just saying look at the strategy of it and try different things. Like, either go into that like very feminine one. I think that will probably be more effective with these guys than hitting it going into the masculine. Even though you're mostly in your masculine at work, you might have to do a fake beta feminine.
Mm.
Do you understand? To get what you want.
Yeah, I get it. It's just I don't want to come off as weak because what if this is a test? Because I think it's a test because the way he shut the door, he was, oh, this is a test because I feel like I don't want to be too feminine, right? Maybe I can come off as neutral or something and still get my point across because if I come off as too feminine, he's gonna think my boss is the stronger one of us and then he'll back her. If I come off as stronger than her, then he'll back me.
Come off as balanced.
Balanced. Okay.
Don't what men often at work, men get very worried that you're going to fly off the handle and go crazy. Because men in general think that women are crazy, and we are kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, we have like this huge corpus callosum in the front of our brains that we have to manage.
Hmm.
Men don't have that. They don't experience emotions in the same way that women do. So he's not dealing with the same amount of information that you are, which makes us more powerful potentially, but also makes it more challenging to be a woman. in a lot of
Yeah.
ways because you have
Yeah.
more to deal with.
Right.
So I would just, as much as you can, and use it as a chance to practice your tools and be balanced and try to set it up and frame it for yourself in a way that like it's almost like you're going to it's not like a war, right? But you're
Hmm.
in some kind of battle and you want to prove something to yourself. And what that's probably going to be is going to be proving your own equanimity and stability in the situation, right?
Hmm.
Because you've got stuff coming at you. How are you going to respond? And so the more that you can take measured responses, and you have been pretty good so far. I mean, it sounds like some battles you've won. But the more measured you can be, the more balanced you can be, you want to look like the sane one. You want to look like the stable one.
Hmm. Yeah,
Uh,
that's why I didn't want to say anything in the meeting because I
mhm.
was worried I was already triggered and I could feel it, but I hid it. And so I was
Good.
taking notes and I let him know, thank you
Yeah.
for sharing this. Let me get back to you,
I
you
think
know?
that was absolutely the right move, and he was baiting you into doing something because it sounds like everybody in that room was triggered. And so, to a certain degree, if he's not conscious, what's he going to want to do? Avoid the trigger, right?
Hmm.
So that's all. I just don't, obviously I don't want you to get caught up as I don't want you to get fired, you know.
Well, HR said, so see, the problem is HR doesn't actually know all the shit that's been going on. The only one who actually knew the level of drama that's been caused here is maybe the VP knew this because the other HR lady left. So this person's new. So she just kind of came in the middle of something and all she knows is she's supposed to back the VP. That's all she knows. She doesn't
Right.
know everything. So she's like, "Well, what is your question? Like what are your questions?" I said, "Like I said, I need time to review this." Then she kept pushing and she's like, she was very aggressive herself. And then she's like, well, I think she said something like, I forgot what she said. She said, oh no, I lost my train of thought. But she said something crazy like, first she tried to shoot down any questions I might have. Then she
Yeah,
said,
that was ridiculous. Why
yeah,
was she
then she
doing that?
said, yeah, then she said nothing that's what that said here is going to change. Like, the stance is not going to change.
But
And
as
it's like,
much as you can, keep track of the things that you bump on from them
hmm.
so that if something does come up, you have like a record of everything that happened you can show.
Oh yeah, yeah, I take really good notes. So I have
Okay.
that documented for sure, but forgot what she was saying. She said
She's
something,
just tired to be the corporate shill. She's not, you know, those people are never on your side, and you already know that. So
yeah.
it's really just about you deciding how you want to handle it and what you can put up with and what, is the lesser evil here. You're going to stay in the job, you're going to look for a new job, you're going to play the game with them, you're going to put your head down. What are you going to
Oh, this is what she said. She said, she's like, do you understand what we're saying? And do you see where we're coming from? That's what she said. And I
Okay.
said, I can understand what you're saying, but I can't say that I agree with everything that's said here.
Right.
But like I said, give me time to review this information and I will get back to you. And then she had nothing to say.
Right. I mean, the best, hopefully they'll find some other rock to look under in the next few weeks,
Yeah,
and this will just pass over.
I hope so.
But yeah,
But she's projecting. You see that? Everything that she's doing, not the HR, my manager, everything that she's doing, she's putting it on me. She's flipping it. You see that?
yes. And that's a very common way to defend yourself is an offense, right? The best defense is a good offense.
Yeah, and but the my question was the masculine energy. You had said masculine energy is takes control of the situation, et cetera, et cetera. Now that's what he did, but that's toxic masculine energy, what he was
Yes.
showing. That's not
Yes.
real. A real masculine energy would show compassion. You can be kind and be masculine, right?
Yes.
That's what I thought. I was like, what he's showing is not masculine energy,
No,
okay?
he's showing, like you said, the dystonic, the toxic part.
Yeah.
He's showing the bullying, but
Yeah.
he doesn't have any other channels. He has chill and intense, and now you got the intense. So you're you're just gonna have to see how it plays out, you know? And sometimes you have to let someone hang themselves by their own rope.
Yeah.
You know, so just I would have measured reactions. You know, defend yourself, but you don't have to fight every battle. I wouldn't get into too much conflict, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
But
All right. Well,
overall, I think it sounds like you handled yourself really well.
I did. And
And
I
I'm
did.
super proud of you for not saying anything when he was trying to bait you
No, I mentally.
into having a triggered reaction because he may have been doing that subconsciously or unconsciously, but you see, once that could get going,
I
that
would look like the
energy could
crazy
be
person.
released.
Yes. Yes. For
And I'm
sure.
so happy that you didn't give that to him.
Yeah, I even told him I'm going to refrain from any comments right now.
That's huge.
Yeah,
That's
and
huge. And I
he
want you to
let me
really
get away
take that
with
as a
it. He let
victory.
me get away with it because I was in my feminine energy with him. Okay? So,
Yes, exactly.
yeah.
You were kind of like, I don't feel comfortable.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Okay,
but
good.
and then after we got out, like later on in the day, my manager was all but gloating because she thinks she won. But I'm already formulating a counter strategy. I just haven't gotten there yet.
Right. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
good. Let her defenses come down.
Yes.
No, I think you're doing well considering the situation, you know. You
Yeah.
know, you have I can tell you have a sense of the politics. So good
Yeah.
for you. And
Thank you so much though. Like your this work is it's a lot. Like it can help you in so many different ways. It's just not relationships. Of course that's primary, but
100%. You're so right. And it's always interesting to me to see like when I work with someone like you or you know, and this is what's most gratifying for me is to hear when somebody's really doing the work and applying it because that's the whole point. Um, and so I'm so happy to hear that you're using the tools, you're using them at work, you're using them with dating, you know, and you're really engaging with it. Because sometimes I work with people for years and they just stay in the note-taking phase. They don't move like beyond that and actually do things. Because once you engage with it, that's when, you know, it sinks in a little more and then, you know, more questions come up and then you have a chance for to learn more. Um, and this work is a lot, you know.
yeah.
It takes a brain to understand this work. So great. I'm happy that you are seeing it and doing it and using it and it is helping you. Um, I'm going to wrap up now.
Yeah.
Excellent work. I'm not going to be here next week actually because I'm out of town, but
Okay.
um, I will be here the following is my plan. I'm usually here Thursday nights and tell your friends. We will be back and yeah, if I don't hear from you before then, I'll see you in a couple weeks.
Thank you so much, Chloe. You've been an immense help.
You are so welcome. I'm really happy to hear it.
All right, thanks. Take care.
You too. Bye.